Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to share in the Global Traditional Medicine Conference today. I'm presenting to you from New York, and I would just like to introduce that I am a Greek American, born in the US. I spent a few decades in Costa Rica and studying Central American folk medicine, very strong focus on popular medicine. And so today my work is, I'm presenting my work so that I can share what I feel is a very important perspective on how we study traditional medicine. So this study looks at the potential benefits of using an interdisciplinary approach to validate traditional medicine. I am using the hypothesis that by researching traditional medicine in a variety of academic disciplines can provide us information which promotes and validates traditional medicine research, very important. What I have done is I have put together a list of academic disciplines which can give us unique insight into the history and the future of traditional natural medicine. The context of this study includes traditional medicines from all over the world and over time. You will see more evidence from ancient Greece because that is the primary focus of my personal research now, as I am prioritizing going back into my own cultural heritage and working with an important conservation movement in Athens, the Academy of Ancient Greek and Traditional Chinese Medicine, where I will soon be presenting some of my research pertaining specifically to Greece, and that information is all on my website. When we look at how we would traditionally validate a medical practitioner, normally we are coming from a scientific perspective in the modern world, especially in the culture that I was brought up in. The allopathic tradition. This is a medical expert, which we are endowed with a trust for this person, such as a doctor and a pharmacist, because they are accredited from universities or organizations, academies that are scientifically based. And so this is the more traditional validation approach for medicine. We also have the clinical traditional medicine, which are experts such as in traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, or Hippocratic medicine with extensive training in a specific medical system. Then we have a culturally determined expert, which is a person who may not have gone to study in an institution, but instead would have had an extensive formation in a more informal environment. And this might include an indigenous shaman, a midwife, or even a priest who would have extensive intergenerational training in natural medicine and often decades of experience. So this person would also be considered an expert within their field. The last topic which we will be speaking most about today is folk medicine. And here we have the home-based expert, such as a granny healer, anyone in the family who has chosen to pursue helping others through natural medicine, neighbors, and an informal system. They may be treating common physical and mental health ailments. as opposed to maybe more extreme ailments. And again, they are working with intergenerational knowledge and experience. Wellness tools are practiced by anyone. They do not require an expert, and they can be used at home for basic wellness needs. They are often based on cultural practices and intergenerational knowledge passed on over time, and they are also transported by humans during migrations. Use of wellness tools over extensive geographic areas is one way that we can validate, is this an important folk remedy for us to pay attention to? Examples are the use of aloe for skin disease, which is now very widespread around the world. Black pepper as a digestive agent, even for those who don't realize that's why it is often included in the food. It is for its digestive medicine, as we know, or the common practice of meditation for stress relief. These are practices that we can find throughout the world, and that helps us know that these are important practices for us to pay attention to. In addition, we have wellness tools that have been used over extensive periods of time. An example of acupuncture, which we don't know how far back it goes, let's say at least 5,000 years, most likely more, or the use of chamomile flowers as medicine, which we know goes back at least 50,000 years in human history, letting us know that that is an important plant for us to look at in the use of traditional medicine. Wellness tools featured significantly in historical, cultural, economic, or artistic research are also important for us to note, such as the appearance of the crocus flower, the use of saffron in early Aegean artwork in the Greek islands, letting us know that that was something very important at that period of time. Or another example, the use of dance as an emotional healing tool around the world. Wellness tools also may be used by diverse animal species, such as the digestive cleansing using fibrous grasses by many animal species, fighting infection with medicinal plants, or even becoming intoxicated with fermentation. After careful review, these are the disciplines which I have related to the study of validating traditional medicine. They include zoofarmacology, paleobotany, archaeology, history, art, anthropology, ethnobotany, phytochemistry, and pharmacology. Obviously, these last two topics are those we would most associate with the validation of these practices. So let's talk more about what these specific disciplines can offer us. The discipline of zoopharmacognosy refers to animal species knowing what they can use for medicine and even for prevention. It is the instinctual ability of animals to influence their health using plants and other substances from the natural environment. We are, of course, included in the animal kingdom, and so these are potentially instincts that would be present in human species, especially, we should assume, in early human species. They include the prevention of disease or infestation, healing a wound, infection, or infestation, plants for contraception, fertility and birth control, and birthing process, poisonous plants, including for pain control, hallucination, or other cathartic experience. In order for a plant to be used as medicine by animals, it must present a significant biochemical signature. This helps us to know that these plants or substances are indeed strong enough to be considered important for research as we move forward. And if you are interested, there is a lot of research on zoopharmacognosy, which backs up these claims that I'm making that show that animal species are indeed capable of practicing medicine. The next discipline we're going to discuss is paleobotany. At some archaeological sites, the presence of plants can be confirmed by paleobotanists. This is especially useful to us if they are in marked containers at a specific location that we know about, or in prehistoric skulls and mummies. One of the oldest examples is from the El Citron site in Spain, where chamomile and yarrow residues were found in a Neanderthal dental calculi dating back 50,000 years. In that study, they showed that indeed these plants were consumed not for food because they do not provide nutrition, but for their bitter and healing components. They were able to trace this medicine to the physiological disease of those early human species. Very important study, and that is just one of many offered to us by the discipline of paleobotany. Paleobotanists use phytochemistry to scientifically determine that these plants were used as medicine and not just as food. The next topic, pharmacology, which we normally think of as a modern art, but as we know in many parts of the world, we can trace the practice of pharmacology back for thousands of years. And this is the combining and processing of ingredients to maximize potency or protection against poison or venom. The ritual use of, excuse me one second, the ritual use of potentially poisonous plants indicates the prehistoric existence of pharmacology in ancient Greece as well as other civilizations. So we have an example here looking at some very ancient Greek art. This is about 3,000 or 4,000 years old, and we can see poisonous plants being used, and that this indeed may indicate to us a recipe showing how the poisonous plants can be used with other plants in combination to make them safer. The term that we use, pharmacology, in English is traced back to an ancient Greek word, pharmako, and that is at least going back 3,000 years to the pre-Greek language, Linear B. The next topic, discipline that offers us a lot of information, is history. And you can see that there is, of course, overlap between these disciplines. But when we talk about history, referring to written history, many of the first writings in human history have actually been to record medical knowledge, very important for ancient people. Believed to be 5,000 years old, the Sumerian tablet that you see on the screen here is the earliest medical document found so far. It contains many recipes for healing, and this is a fascinating topic of ancient medical history if you're interested to look into that. One of the plants that's recommended is the opium poppy, which is pictured above with the Mesopotamian goddess Nisaba. Just a few centuries later, you can see the opium poppies extending out from above her shoulders. Opium medicines can also be found in early writings from Egypt, such as the Ebers Papyrus, which is dated at 1500 BCE. Although this was over a millennium before Greek medical writings began, the opium poppy gives us an example of how we can use an interdisciplinary approach to gain insight into prehistoric medicine. And shown here, you can see a later Greek goddess with the same basic symbology relating to the opium poppy. Contemporary writings from nearby, together with archaeological findings and artwork from Bronze Age Greece, show the cultural significance of the opium poppy. And modern science, of course, verifies the potential medicinal and shamanic uses for the opium plant. Archaeology and art history are crucial for understanding prehistoric medicine. Before the widespread use of written language, going back many thousands of years, depending on which area of the world you're talking about, images of plants were used in artwork, on jewelry, and as labels on containers. These images may have represented recipes and the ritual, political, or commercial activities the plants were used for. So on the bottom, we have another ancient Greek artwork which shows a variety of substances which would have been put together at a specific time of year in a specific ritual use as part of their medicinal traditions. And as well, we have a jug on the side which contained fermented ingredients, and that would also be a label showing the contents of the jar, very important in early international trade before writing was widespread. The disciplines of anthropology and cross-cultural ethnomedicine offer us as well a lot of information when traditional medicine strategies are shared across culture. They show the potential for replication, meaning if it works for many different cultures, it can also work for many more. The outcomes of these studies, discovering, documenting, and disseminating medical applications of common herbs and spices, for example, garlic, black pepper, basil, oregano, thyme, nutmeg, turmeric, and many more that are used throughout the world. No coincidence, because it turns out that these are indeed very powerful medicinal substances. Another outcome is identifying significant common trends. For example, the humoral or elemental constitution theories, which we can find both in ancient Greek medicine, in India, in China, and in many less documented areas throughout the world, focusing on how the elements of nature are working within our bodies and how they can be used for diagnosis and also treatment. The practices of therapeutic divination, also very widespread. We can see this trend throughout the world, and community participation as a healing agent, such as grief circles or ceremonies to help when someone is not doing well and requires the community to offer some kind of therapeutic circumstance. Obviously, we have the discipline of ethnobotany, the academic discipline that is most commonly used in the scientific validation of traditional medicine. This is the study of how people have used plants. A large focus is on medical applications, and some research collects information about powerful plants from culturally identified experts. In some cases, information is also collected on plants used as wellness tools and in daily household remedies. Popular medicine that, as we discussed before, can provide us many examples of powerful medicinal tools. I want to share a great case study, an herbal that is called a Pompeian herbal. And this is an ethnobotanical survey of modern folk medicine in the Pompeii area, combined with a paleobotanical analysis of the remains of plants found in the archaeological excavations at Pompeii. This is in Italy. Literature review of historical writings on medical uses at the time, such as Hippocrates and Galen, the early medical writings of that area, and the phytochemical research on the scientific properties of the plants studied. So in a very interesting and unique way, this book has combined these different disciplines so as to provide us with a very holistic view of the powerful medicine provided by the plants that it discusses. Another interdisciplinary case study that I have put together here to give you an example is about chamomile. We already discussed that the use of chamomile is at least 50,000 years old. So we are referring there to the disciplines of paleobotany and archaeology. Using ethnobotany, we can discover the pervasive use of chamomile in modern times as a home remedy, not just over time, but around the world. We know that chamomile is still extremely important in home remedies. We have the historical medicinal properties being documented in scientific writings for 2,000 years, showing us again significance. The pediatric uses of chamomile from around the world, a variety of forms of chamomile being prescribed internally and externally for children and even babies. And this is especially important because it indicates to us that although chamomile is a powerful plant, it also has a tendency to be a safer plant and therefore more replicable in its uses. And then, of course, the phytochemistry research that has been done on chamomile, that it contains essential oils, mucilage, coumarin, and other constituents which are responsible for its anti-inflammatory, carminative, abortive, sedative, and general healing properties. Some of the current applications of interdisciplinary research that can be taking place and should be taking place in the future. Medical ethnobotanical knowledge is used by chemists to create pharmaceutical products, as we know. Historical, artistic, and anthropological research into the human relationship with entheogenic substances or hallucinogenic substances can lead to the creation of innovative mental health strategies. Historical, ethnomedicinal, and ethnobotanical studies serve to identify potential medicinal plants to be tested for safety as recommended home remedies against common mild ailments. Environmental conservation efforts use historical and botanical information to demonstrate the value of plants and the potential gravity of over-harvesting, leading to species decimation, which is something that we know is going on in the world today. Interdisciplinary studies inspire the testing and promotion of nutritional supplements based on plants which are sustainably harvested, effective, and safe for home use. In conclusion, traditional medicine represents an accumulated wisdom which has stood the test of time. It is based on the survival techniques of our forebears. Using a model of interdisciplinary research, traditional medicines can be explored for modern health applications. Using an ethnomedical perspective can also enhance other academic disciplines, including history, economics, art, theology, and anthropology. Validating traditional medicine creates innovative opportunities to incorporate ancient wellness tools and wisdom into the modern health system. I have some references. There are many more out there, especially if you look up by discipline. You can find these references on my poster. And this is my contact information, and I would love to hear from anyone, comments or questions about my presentation. Thank you so much.